Welcome, dear viewers, to a journey into the unknown, a story that will send shivers down your spine and make you question the boundaries of our reality. I invite you to join me as I recount a harrowing encounter that took place in the heart of our school library. In the pages of this story you will find whispers of the abyss, secrets that defy explanation, and a malevolent presence lurking in the shadows. Prepare yourself for a chilling experience as we delve into the dark mysteries of Whispers of the Abyss, the library's haunting secret. In the depths of my psyche, a gnawing fear, irrational and all-encompassing, enveloped me like a haunting shroud, an unceasing torment. The enigma of darkness wielded a malevolent power over my very being, while the loneliness of isolation beckoned like an unfathomable abyss, a realm I dared not face. Perhaps it was the residue of a childhood steeped in macabre cinema, or the chilling tales spun by my grandmother, tales of vengeful spirits and eldritch abominations lurking just beyond the fragile veil of reality. One fateful autumn evening, my unyielding fear of the mysterious would lead me down a sinister path, a journey into terror that would be indelibly etched into the tapestry of my psyche. It was a bleak Friday night, and I found myself in the clutches of academia, toiling away on a group project with a motley crew of classmates. As the clock struck midnight in the deserted classroom, we ended our arduous endeavor, and I found myself on the precipice of an ominous journey home. The dimly lit corridor of the school, shrouded in the mantle of night, exuded an oppressive malevolence. The flickering fluorescent lights, dim and erratic, cast eerie, elongated shadows on the pale blue lockers that lined the corridor. Every footstep echoed with a foreboding echo, a stark reminder of my overwhelming loneliness. My rucksack, clutched tightly, served as a talisman against the encroaching darkness as my heart quickened its relentless pace. As I approached the junction where the corridor diverged, one path leading to the blessed escape and the other into the heart of the school's ancient and abandoned wing, an area rife with whispers of ghostly apparitions and malevolent phantoms, I would normally avoid the latter. But on this ominous night, curiosity would prove to be my fatal flaw. With irresistible allure, the door to the forbidden wing beckoned, ensnaring me in its ethereal glow, and the temperature plummeted to depths bordering on the inhuman. The silence that enveloped me was oppressive, pregnant with an eerie foreboding that sent shivers down my spine. Cautiously I ventured out into the deserted corridor, my footsteps now muffled by the rotting, threadbare carpet. Every step I took seemed to echo with a discordant symphony, as if unseen eyes were scrutinizing my every move. A lump formed in my throat, choking my voice. Just as I contemplated a hasty retreat, it manifested an apparition, swift and enigmatic, slithering at the periphery of my vision. My heart leapt into my throat, and I found myself immobilized, struggling to discern the nature of this unholy specter. Reason implored me to dismiss it as a mere trick of the light or a figment of my fevered imagination, but instinct whispered a lament of dread that could not be silenced. With trembling resolve, I pressed on, my eyes constantly scanning for any sign of movement. And then it came, the faint, ghostly echo of footsteps, echoing in macabre unison with mine, as if some spectral presence was relentlessly pursuing me. My breath grew shallow, beads of sweat formed on my forehead, and terror gripped me in an unrelenting grip. I turned abruptly, but there was nothing to meet my gaze but the endless, elongated corridor and the ominous feeling of being watched. I quickened my pace, longing to put distance between myself and the unseen pursuer, but the echo of footsteps persisted, growing louder and closer. Panic coursed through me like an electric current, and I broke into a frantic sprint. My trainers squeaked on the linoleum floor as I raced through the darkened corridor, relentlessly pursued by the phantom echoes. I could not make out the identity of my pursuer, but the malevolent presence was palpable, a sinister force nipping at my heels. I rounded another corner, my heart a thunderous drumbeat in my chest, and there it stood, the sanctuary of the exit door, shining like a lone beacon amidst the Stygian abyss. With the last of my strength, I rushed towards it, slamming the portal shut with every ounce of strength I could muster. I leaned against the door, gasping for breath, my heart beating at a frantic rate. The corridor beyond was eerily silent, devoid of the sinister presence that had stalked me relentlessly. I had never known such terror, the unknown looming as an undeniable reality. I knew with unshakable certainty that I would never again dare to enter the cursed wing of the school. The ghost stories were no longer the folklore whispered in hushed tones. They had crystallized into a chilling, physical nightmare that had enveloped me. Unbeknownst to me, this harrowing encounter marked the beginning of a series of inexplicable phenomena that would haunt my nights and obliterate my belief in the rational world. The fear of the mysterious had become an insidious companion, lurking in the shadows, ready to strike when least expected. As the days melted into haunted nights, I could not escape the chilling realization that some secrets were never meant to be revealed. After my harrowing ordeal in the cursed confines of Lockwood High's haunted wing, I desperately tried to put the disturbing incident to the back of my mind. I convinced myself it was nothing more than a figment of my fevered imagination, an aberration fueled by the disturbing aura of that deserted corridor. Yet an insidious unease remained, refusing to be silenced. Each night, as I lay in the solitude of my bedroom, the memory of those phantom footsteps would replay in my mind's eye. I would wake up drenched in cold sweat, convinced that I heard faint, ghostly whispers and the soft shuffling of unseen ghosts lurking just beyond the threshold of my bedroom door. The fear of the unknown had ensnared my psyche, an omnipresent shadow from which there was no escape. One evening, as I sat in my room, trying in vain to drown my fears in the monotony of homework, I was struck by an unsettling sensation, a subtle but undeniable change in the atmosphere. The room grew cooler and a gnawing unease settled in the pit of my stomach. My eyes darted around anxiously, half expecting to spot that elusive, spectral presence lurking in the dim corners. It was the mirror across the room that caught my attention like a moth to a flame. Illuminated by the soft glow of my desk lamp, its reflective surface revealed a sight that froze the blood in my veins. In that spectral mirror stood a faint, ethereal figure, shrouded by a cloak of darkness. My heart stopped its rhythmic beat as I slowly turned to face this otherworldly intruder. But when I turned to face it, the ghost had vanished. My room was empty of any presence but my own. I rubbed my eyes in disbelief and berated myself for succumbing to the whims of fatigue and fear. It was all, I assured myself, a byproduct of stress and the relentless march of sleep deprivation. But night after night, the disturbing incidents persisted. The feeling of being watched became a relentless companion, and fleeting glimpses of shadowy movement in my peripheral vision tormented my restless hours. Murmurs, unintelligible but eerie, grew louder, as if ghostly voices were crying out for recognition. Driven to despair, I confided in my closest friend, Sarah, a paragon of sanity and composure. She listened intently to my tale, her brow furrowed in concern. "Perhaps it's all a trick of the mind," she ventured, her voice a soothing balm. "Our minds have a way of playing tricks on us when fear takes root. Stress can conjure up fantasies that the rational mind can't reconcile." I nodded, eager to accept her rational perspective, but beneath the veneer of reassurance I knew that this was a conundrum far removed from mere fantasy. It was no mere flight of fancy, but an insidious entity that defied easy explanation. One night, as I lay in bed, vainly struggling with the elusive embrace of sleep, the ominous footsteps returned. This time they were unmistakable, coming from the hallway just outside my bedroom door. Panic coursed through my veins and I clutched my covers tightly, paralyzed by the fears that gripped me. The door creaked open with agonizing slowness and I held my breath, my eyes riveted to the portal. A shadowy figure materialized in the doorway, its form obscured by the inky darkness. It seemed to linger there, an ominous silhouette just watching me. I could not move, could not even scream. Then, as quickly as it had appeared, the specter retreated, disappearing into the corridor. The footsteps faded, diminishing until they were nothing more than a ghostly echo, as if the being that had invaded my sanctuary had lost interest in my plight and moved on. Tears welled in my eyes as I finally summoned the courage to call for help. "Sarah," I cried, my voice shaking with fear. "Sarah, please, you have to believe me." Sarah burst into my room, her face a mixture of concern and confusion. "What's happening? Are you all right?" I recounted the eerie encounter, my voice trembling with fear. Sarah listened intently, her features growing more serious with each word. She decided to stay with me that night, determined to offer comfort in the face of the inexplicable. As the days turned into weeks, Sarah and I embarked on an arduous journey to uncover the dark truths that had gripped my existence. We delved into the annals of Lockwood High's history, unearthing the sordid past of the abandoned wing. What we uncovered sent shivers down our spines. The wing had been closed decades ago due to an unending series of mysterious incidents, including the disappearance of a guard and a litany of reports of unexplained phenomena. It was clear that the fear of the unknown that had ensnared me was deeply intertwined with a disturbing history that defied oblivion. We were determined to uncover the truth, regardless of the sinister specters that might await us, and to throw off the ghostly grip that had taken hold of my life. Little did we know that our search for answers would plunge us deeper into a realm of darkness where the boundaries between the corporeal and the spectral would become blurred and the fear of the unknown would take on an even more terrifying and abominable meaning. In the aftermath of our chilling revelations about the haunted history meticulously woven into the fabric of Lockwood High's abandoned wing, Sarah and I made a solemn pact to confront head-on the looming shadows that had cast a perpetual pall over my existence. Our arsenal consisted not only of our painstakingly gathered research, but also an unwavering commitment, a steadfast determination bordering on obsession to unearth the elusive truth that had become an inescapable, ever-darkening enigma wrapped tightly around our lives. The dilapidated wing, once a hallowed sanctuary of knowledge and enlightenment, now exuded a malevolence so palpable that it was almost impossible to consign it to mere oblivion. As we bravely ventured deeper into this nightmarish maze, our footsteps echoed ominously through the labyrinthine corridors, each echo a haunting testament to the eerie emptiness that now enveloped this abandoned realm. The very air seemed charged with an unsettling tension, as if the walls themselves, like ghostly scribes, secretly held the tortured secrets of a calamitous and unhappy past. Our tenacious exploration, driven by a relentless curiosity, eventually led us to the heart of the darkness, a long-forgotten storeroom, a dusty archive of bygone days and bygone stories, meticulously recording the ghostly events that had culminated in the final closure of the wing. Amidst the sepia-toned parchment lay harrowing accounts, tales steeped in terrors of encounters with a nebulous and malevolent specter, as well as the baffling and unexplained disappearances of students and staff. The more we delved into these cryptic accounts, the more we realized that the entity that had taken up residence within these cursed walls was not a figment of the imagination, but an ancient, malevolent force, undeniably real and utterly hostile. But undaunted by the ominous shadow of history, Sarah, possessing a brilliant analytical mind coupled with the wisdom of restraint, offered a meticulous plan, a painstaking effort to uncover the hidden truth that lay shrouded in darkness. With a degree of trepidation and unwavering determination, we set about installing an intricate network of cameras and audio recorders, pinning our hopes on capturing irrefutable evidence of the paranormal. It was undoubtedly a Herculean task, but our collective resolve remained steadfast, unwavering in our quest to dispel the fear of the unknown that had shackled our lives. The first night of surveillance unfolded like an oppressive shroud of silence, a deafening silence that clung to us as we anxiously watched the live feed from our newly installed cameras. The hours stretched on, taunting us with their silence, and skepticism began to creep in, threatening to swallow our resolve whole. Just when doubt had nearly eclipsed our resolve, the footage finally produced something remarkable, an image of the desolate corridor outside my room, a spectral chill juxtaposed against the barren backdrop. Inexplicably, the ambient temperature plummeted, and a faint, chilling whisper mingled with the air we breathed. And then, as if conjured from the abyss itself, the shadowy figure appeared, an ethereal presence gliding in eerie silence down the dimly lit corridor. Our hearts pounded in unison as we watched, transfixed, as it drew ever closer to my room. At this critical juncture, the fear of the unknown ceased to be a nebulous abstraction and crystallized into a horrific, grotesque reality unfolding before our very eyes. As the figure approached the threshold of my room, it paused, a pregnant moment of terrible anticipation, as if aware of our presence. Slowly, inexorably, it turned to face the camera, its eyes devoid of humanity and fixed on us with a cold, implacable intensity. A wave of icy dread washed over us, as if the malevolent force had transcended the ethereal boundaries between the corporeal and the spectral. In the blink of an eye, the figure disappeared from the screen, leaving us trapped in a vice of paralyzing terror. It became undeniably clear that the act of confronting this malevolent entity posed a danger far greater and more terrifying than our wildest imaginings. The fear of the unknown, once an abstract concept, now stood as an unstoppable, terrifying threat that threatened to engulf our very lives. In the face of this newfound urgency, Sarah and I decided to seek the wise counsel of Dr. Elizabeth Turner, a seasoned luminary in the field of paranormal investigation. Dr. Turner arrived at Lockwood High with an arsenal of specialized equipment and a cadre of researchers, all ready to dive headlong into the baffling mysteries that had plagued us for so long. As we ventured deeper into the ominous abyss, the ambient temperature continued to plummet and the atmosphere thickened with an oppressive presence that seemed to coil around us like a malevolent serpent. Dr. Turner's team, precise and methodical in their approach, meticulously arranged their instruments, while we, gripped by trepidation, formed a protective circle, clasping hands as Dr. Turner initiated a seance, a profound endeavor to establish communion with the restless spirit that had tormented us. In that fateful room, a miasma of unearthly energy swirled, and a spectral voice, a voice that bore witness to untold anguish and torment, echoed through the air, breaking the boundaries between the mortal and the ethereal. A tragic tale unfolded before us, the tragic death of a student under mysterious circumstances, and her solemn oath to protect the wing from all intruders, her spectral voice echoing through the ether. With great effort, Dr. Turner has managed to forge a fragile bond with the ghost, offering it comfort and the possibility of redemption. Slowly, the oppressive presence began to fade, replaced by a calm serenity that enveloped the long-abandoned wing. The malevolent force that had tormented me for so long, now captive to compassion and understanding, was finally at peace. As the shroud of the unknown was lifted from Lockwood High, an immense weight was lifted from my being. The specter that had cast its relentless shadow over my life was vanquished, and the abandoned wing, once a crucible of terror, was transformed into a sanctuary of resolution, healing, and redemption. The fear of the unknown, a specter that had forced me on a harrowing odyssey into the unfathomable realms of the supernatural, had also left me with an indelible lesson, a lesson that underscored the quintessence of facing our deepest fears and pursuing the truth with unwavering determination, no matter how unsettling it may be. In the end, it was not fear or malice that prevailed, but the enduring virtues of hope and humanity that remained steadfast in the face of the most terrifying unknowns.
Thank you for joining me on this spine-tingling exploration of the library's haunting secret. The darkness that dwells within its walls is a testament to the unsolved mysteries that surround us. If you found this story as intriguing and chilling as I did, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel for more stories of the supernatural and the unknown. And remember, the next time you find yourself in a quiet, dimly lit library, be careful, the whispers of the abyss may be closer than you think. Until next time, stay curious, stay alert, and never stop seeking the truth.